This week kicks off part 1 of our 3-part Confident Coach series. And today we're going to be diving into 3 practical tips to feel more confident as a coach and leader. Hey, I'm Amanda, and welcome to the Best Damn Coach podcast, where I will teach you how to coach yourself, how to coach your clients, and how to run your coaching business. The number one goal of this show, though, is to help you be the best damn coach you can be so your clients go out and tell the world about you. So let's do the damn thing. Welcome back to the show, you guys. I'm so excited you're joining me. Today is part 1 of a 3-part series that you are most definitely going to want to stick around and listen to all of it, because I have taken a tremendous amount of time to instill and create some powerful value in these 3 episodes so that you walk away feeling more confident as a coach. And this is leading up to our spring challenge. I host a few challenges a year. They're honestly one of my favorite ways to deliver value and to create deep transformation in just 5 days. And so this challenge is called Coaching Skills Week. And you can join us first off at amanda-walker.com/skills, SKILLS, not with a Z like the kids would do. During this 5 days, I am guaranteeing that by the end, you are going to walk away with more confidence as a coach, more skills in your toolbox, and feeling like you understand your client so much more. And the reason I created this challenge, by the way, and honestly, many of the conversation I have with existing practitioners, you would identify as a coach, a leader, service-based leader, or a service-based business owner, anybody who's helping their clients create results, therapists. This week is for you. And one of the things really fantastic coaches often tell me is they want to be better coaches. It's not just about the business, obviously. That's what's sold out in the world. Everybody's talking about growth when it comes to business. But the reality is, if you don't have confidence as a practitioner, then you're not going to show up in your business the way you want. And so during this 5 days, I'm going to teach you how to grow your coaching skills and your confidence so that you can serve your people with more gusto, with more self-belief. And over the 5 days, I'm going to be teaching you a few things that I want to highlight here. First off, I'm going to be teaching you really where confidence comes from and how to cultivate it, no matter if you have 0 clients right now or 100 clients. I'm also going to be helping you understand the prospective client journey. A lot of coaches don't even know this. And so they try to serve their client or their prospective client, and they don't meet their client where they're at in their particular journey. I'm going to be teaching you the most powerful understanding of transformation with your client. So the transformational journey. I'm also going to be teaching you one thing that I see so many clients or coaches miss that causes them to not be able to deliver the results they promised. And lastly, I'm going to be teaching you how to repurpose the results that you're cultivating with your clients to get more of your dream clients. So for me, this is a no-brainer. It's a ton of value, and I would love to have you join us. Again, you can sign up at amanda-walker.com/skills. It is April 24th through the 29th at 10 a.m. Pacific time is when the live trainings that I'm going to be hosting start. So essentially, you'll opt in, you'll get the information. We create a challenge Facebook community, not to annoy you with Facebook, but to answer all your questions. We give away amazing prizes every day. We are giving you a workbook immediately to access so that you can have massive results throughout. And it's a highly engaged community during this week of the challenge. So back to the podcast content. I developed this 3-part series because I really identified what have I seen really be a block for practitioners when it comes to showing up the way they want inside of their coaching business and with their clients. And it's often nothing to do with the strategy around business. And it has everything to do with what's happening internally. And so I thought the most effective way to start this series off is to dive into that. So I know that you spent hours and probably thousands of dollars taking more certifications, more learnings, listening to more education. And often we hope, okay, this is just going to make me feel more confident and more ready to coach. And still, you don't. Or maybe you're just starting out right now and you don't have any certification specifically, but you are a content expert and know you can help people, but you still don't feel ready or qualified, or you have this major imposter feelings coming up. So this series is for you. And even if you feel like I'm pretty damn good at what I'm doing, there is absolutely information inside here that's going to make you feel even better to deepen your confidence in your self-belief. I just see so many talented coaches out there, or prospective coaches, and they are not taking action. And it does not have to do with the fact that they're gifted. Like, they know nutrition, they know style, they know health, whatever your particular niche or service is. And yet they struggle internally. And so they just sit on the sidelines watching all the other people do it and are not taking action. And so today, let's talk about that. I'm going to share a formula that you may not know that really, I think, creates an understanding, a deeper understanding of confidence. And I'm going to share the 3 tips that really help you take action around this. They did a sports performance study, and I want to give credit to the study. So I'll put it in the show notes here. But essentially, they evaluated athletes and looked at what really makes them have this level of confidence in their particular field, court, etc. And they boiled it down to really 2 factors, and that is self-belief times evidence equals confidence. So again, you can check the show notes to see a more visual of this. And again, the formula for confidence is this: self-belief times evidence. So let's define these few things. Now, self-belief means you believe in yourself and your abilities and the future vision so just richly, right? You're like, I can do whatever I say I'm going to do. Evidence would be either past or current evidence where you collect that basically validates that self-belief. You're looking for ways in your life in which you were able to say, yes, the things I say I am doing, right? And so when we put these 2 pieces together, it kind of simplifies it. And it also could be in your mind a perspective problem as to why you lack confidence when it comes to your business specifically. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a little while. So as I talk about the tips, I'm going to relate them back to this formula so that you really think about yourself and confidence. And I don't think this just applies to business. I think this applies towards any area of your life, your health, your marriage, your parenting, your relationships. And so we can see where the areas are in your life that you're lacking confidence. Then we could probably drill it down to one of these 2 parts of the equation: self-belief or evidence. So I'll give an example of this. I've talked very vulnerably and often, honestly, about just relationships with women and how they've been a challenge for me in my life. One of the things holding me back from confidence is definitely the evidence piece, because my brain wants to go back to evidence of failed friendships or evidence of hurt in those relationships. And when I focus on that evidence, what it does is it brings down the left side of the equation, the reactance. And so in bringing that down, it impacts my level of confidence, right? Because there is a connection there. Whatever happens on the right side, I do lots of formulas because I think it's really powerful to see, right? The left side of the equation, if you go back to chemistry, are the reactants. The right side are the products. So whatever happens on the left side happens to the right side. So if self-belief diminishes or evidence that you're collecting diminishes, it also impacts what happens on the right side. So it would diminishes. And so let's talk about 3 tips, actionable tips that you can take right now to grow the left side of your equation so that you feel more confident, not just in business, but your whole life, right? This matters to all of us for many reasons. So if you're listening, you're like, I don't know if this episode is for me. I'm not a coach. You are a leader, by the way, in some element of your life. You want to be more confident, I would assume, in that element of your life. So guess what? This episode is for you. Okay. So tip number 1, I want to just use some context. You may be somebody that requires considerable evidence in your life, and you spend a lot of time and energy trying to create self-belief. So in other words, like just little one nugget might be enough for somebody to go like, oh yeah, I can go do this thing. I get it. But others might need like this mountain of evidence. So it takes a tremendous amount of time and energy because you're just trying to collect so much evidence to deepen that self-belief. So I want to just say that there's a spectrum here of ranges on evidence collection. And when I say evidence collection, we're looking at those specific things that have happened. And I'm going to talk more deeply about it here in just a moment, but we're looking at examples that have happened while we're building our business that are nuggets that say like, hey, Amanda, look at this feedback came, or you've showed yourself that you can do this. Let's use an example here. The thing about confidence is it comes from believing in yourself as you are right now, today, right? Without more clients, which is a key, without more certifications, I want through this episode to help you own that right where you are right now, you can feel more confident without changing the amount of clients you have, the learnings you have. It's okay to desire those things as long as they're not coming from a place of lack. And I'm going to teach you more about that inside the challenge. But there's some examples I think that are interesting that I see coaches fall into. They're like, I want more clients, but I want to feel more confident, but I need more clients to do that. And I don't want to tell people yet about my coaching skills, right? So this is like an author, right, who writes this beautiful book. And then when it comes to sharing the book with the world, they say, well, I want lots of people to read the book, but I don't want to tell the world that there is a book, right? No author would go out and say that. To collect testimonials about how great the book is, more people have to read it. So we have to go tell people that the book exists. The same thing happens with coaching. We have to go tell more people if we want feedback and testimonials that it's working so that we can tell more people about it and collect the testimonials, right? Or a movie star, right? That says, well, I need to be on the big screen, like in Harkins and AMC before being able to be on the big screen. I want the big thing. I don't want the little things. The little things aren't enough of evidence for me to be on the big screen. If you think about these things logically, they don't really make sense. But this is what we often do inside of our coaching practice is we don't go out and have conversations and talk about our services because we don't have enough evidence yet in our mind to be able to do that. So then if that's the case, how do we collect evidence in lieu of that? Or how do we collect evidence without having to have more clients, more feedback, more certifications? So tip number one is we have to create the habit for ourselves of collecting evidence for our own success. Nobody will do this for you. Not your best friend, not your spouse, not even your coach, right? We have to be the ones that go out and very intentionally begin looking for ways that as we take action, things are successful. This is micro. This is, I posted on social media. I am going to choose like pride and excitement over this instead of I only posted on social media one time. I am going to go out and like celebrate, see that I am putting myself in uncomfortable situations to have conversations about my coaching. I'm going to networking events. I'm reaching out to people. I'm sending emails. I'm sending text messages. I hosted a workshop. The brain has been wired to collect evidence against ourselves. So we have to go out and understand that the intentional collection of evidence for our success is going to grow that side of the equation. Now, if you don't officially have paying clients yet, this is where you can start super small. And I'm going to give some tangible ways to do this in a moment. But this is where you can go have a beta client, right? A free client where you literally say, I am going to serve you in exchange for a raving testimonial. And everybody's different. You can charge very small for this. You can charge for free. I like to just say, don't get in the habit of this. Maybe do one or two and that's it. And then you start charging for your services to get in the habit of acquiring money. Some people charge from the beginning. There's no right way, right? Or if you're coaching friends or through a certification, if you did hours, go back and collect those feedback from people on how transformative their sessions with you are. If you coach your friends, same thing. Go back and ask. This can be not just for repurposing on social media or a website, but this is about your brain. This is about physically seeing the results that you are cultivating. And when you collect more and more of that, then it's going to elevate that side of the equation. That does not mean that we rely on that external validation. It's just that evidence you are actively seeking. And you can do this. You could save, here's a tangible way. You could create a folder on your email that says positive evidence. And anytime emails come in from people touting like how amazing it was to work with you, you just drop it in there, right? And when you need a little pick me up of that evidence, you can go read those emails. You could create albums on your phone. This is what I actually do. And when clients send messages through Voxer or through email or inside my group in Facebook, I take a screenshot of it and I drop it into my albums so that anytime I want to just take a look and remind myself of my purpose and remind myself of why I do this work, it's available, right? Second caveat to that is then I repurpose those on social media to show like Amanda is who she is, says she is. These are the results she's achieving, right? So it builds trust with my audience to show I am doing these things with my clients and I can support you to do this too. If there's other files, ways that you communicate with clients, get in the habit of consciously pushing away any evidence that you are trying to collect against yourself. And you must rewire it so that you are collecting evidence for yourself. And in the challenge, we're going to go even deeper into understanding why our brain does this. But this tip is extremely powerful. It's like the feel-good file that you can keep reminding yourself of from even comments on social media or conversations that happen. Remind yourself of those things and look at all the baby steps. I do this with clients sometimes too. We take out giant sticky note papers and we go back from the very beginning. Since you started your business, what have you done? And we line item by line item. This is a great journaling practice, or if you want to see it visually. And it's like very simple. I filed for my LLC. I had my first workshop. I had my first client in, 2020. And so you can see this mound of evidence and you go, dang, like I am doing what I'm saying I'm doing. And the thought sometimes that comes in that it's not happening fast enough or I'm not where I want to be is clouding your ability to see all that evidence. And that is ultimately impacting your confidence. Tip number 2, when it comes to that evidence, often our brain wants to go hang out in the past. I call this fondling the past. We go back to find that evidence in the past, and that when we stay hanging out in the past, we're picking the evidence from the past that doesn't support ourselves to move ahead, right? So we look back and we're like, look at all those ways in the past that I missed the mark. And we start to really hone in and we put our energy towards that, right? And while it's good to know those things, right? We don't want to be oblivious and ignorant and just say, blah, like the past happened. Yay. Everything's roses, toxic positivity. We want to take the learnings from the past, specifically the data around the learnings, right? I love data. Data is important to look at, and your feelings. Yes. We love intuition. It's a perfect blend. But if we're in the past and all of our emotions are hanging out in the past, then that doesn't really give us the clarity or the energy to stay in the future. And so past focus, honestly, is kind of energetically exhausting because we have all these beautiful things happening in front of us, but we keep wanting to go back, right? I always use the example. It's like a old boyfriend who maybe wasn't faithful or was unkind to you. And if we keep focusing on that as our marker of what relationships look like, then it actually impacts your ability to create a healthy relationship with your husband, partner, whatever in the present moment. And it prevents you from looking ahead of like, what are we going to create together? But the only thing is like the only way the past comes back to us in the present is if we keep thinking about it. Right. And some of us love to spend time. You've probably been around people that's all their energy is so past focused. They're not really even able to see a future. They don't spend time because they haven't given themselves permission to even think about that. And so when it comes to cultivating confidence and self-belief, tip number 2 is really to stay future focused. In other words, spend time cultivating that vision of absolutely what you want to create. Do you want to have 10 clients by the end of the year? Then let's focus on that. What is that going to look like? Where are those clients going to come from? How do you want to meet them? How are you going to attract them? What's it going to be like when you have 10 clients? How are you going to serve them, right? Because then we start thinking about that and all of our energy stays in that future place and that excitement exists of what's possible. And so unconsciously then we start taking action towards it. And the more crystal clear we can tweak and adjust that, and the more we can connect to the feelings of what it's like to be successful in the future, then unconsciously we just start like tippy-toe towards it. And so much of what I see that impacts self-belief specifically is that we're looking back in the past and saying that thing didn't go well. And so that means it's not going to go well in the future, which is just not a fact. It is not true at all. and this is such a sneaky form of self-sabotage, I see it over and over, is that we are so tempted to go back and use the past as evidence for our future. Like, well, this happened before, so it's going to happen again, right? In health, it's like, I lost the weight and gained it back, so it's going to happen again. How many times has that impacted women? Or every time I try to talk to my child about this, they don't talk to me and you don't want to engage, so it's going to happen again, so I'm just not going to talk to them, right? It's not true. And so the more we stay focused on who we want to become or the results we create, we hang out in the future, and that deepens self-belief. And not to mention, when you tap into the feelings of what it's going to be like to have those things, that is energizing. Energizing is towards future focused. The past focus is exhausting. It takes so much energy, more energy and time to hang out in the past than it does to actually hang out in the future. And that ultimately affects your productivity. It impacts how you show up. It impacts your confidence, and it impacts your profit. All right. Tip number 3. Before I even talk about that tip, I talk about confidence a lot on the show, and it's not a topic that I feel like will ever wear out because it feels like this elusive thing, confidence. And confidence is very subjective, right? What I feel is confidence may not be confidence for the next person. What I want you to really do, and I'd love at the challenge, we're going to really do a pre and post assessment of where we're at as we start the challenge week. But I would really take some time even in this episode is just mentally, or write it down as a journaling, like, how do you define confidence for yourself? What does confidence specifically look like? And I think that will also help you really embody tip number 3 is confidence for me is ultimately built, created by doing, by taking action. And I'll share why that is in a moment. The problem is that so many coaches and leaders wait to feel confident to take action. In other words, they're like, as soon as I feel confident, then I'll do the thing. I just need to feel more confident. So I'm going to go get the certification, or I'm going to go listen to 5 more podcasts. I'm going to go read more books, and then I'll take the action because that feeling will happen. The thing about feelings, you guys, is confidence is a feeling. And feelings can be accessed any moment. The feeling of confidence is accessed through how we think first. So if we have the thought, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, that does not produce a feeling of confidence. So that thought in our day in and day out processes and patterns is not going to serve our level of confidence. So the thing about confidence is it happens the other way around. You have to go out and take the action and watch yourself actually follow through to build more of the same. And this is where the notion of what I tell all of my clients and all of my programs, be her now. You've heard me say this on the show before. It's worthy of repeating every single week. The person you are wanting to become, the key to confidence is taking the action, doing the day in and day out micro habits, and thinking the thoughts that a person that has that future self goal that you want in this moment, even before you are there. So the woman doing what you desire, my question for you is, what does she do differently than you do now? For example, she's probably not thinking thoughts, I'm not ready. She's thinking thoughts that are more like, I don't have it all figured out and I can make impact at the same time. She's probably not thinking they're not going to buy from me. She's probably thinking the right clients will say yes to my offers, right? She's probably embodying and wearing the clothes that she wants to when she shows up at a networking event. She's probably hiring help potentially in her business before she's ready officially. She's showing up consistently in her podcast or blog or social media strategy. She's not quitting when something gets hard. So all of those things that you are telling yourself about in the future, I will, this is your call and your reminder to do this now. Because the journey to get to the goal of having 10 clients or having a 50K business or a 100K business or $1 million business is about shifting your identity into that person. It's never about the goal, about having the thing. It's about who do I have to become in order to be that person? Because what I do now and how I think as a coach who's never had a client is going to be entirely different than how I have to think and act as a coach that has 20 clients. So what I'm suggesting is start thinking like the 20 client coach now. right? What kind of systems and organization do I need? Right? Here's something I say, oh, well, it's just a little baby business and I'll figure out the systems when I have more clients. And my suggestion is no, like embody it now, become the business thinker, think like a business owner. Embodying it has the ability to tap into confidence without changing the circumstances. I'm simply going inside myself and just saying, okay, right now I'm making, my workshop. I'm hosting my workshop. I don't know how to host a workshop. I've never hosted a workshop. So then my question to my clients is, well, a woman who has, what do you think she would do? And do you see that reframe? Immediately it puts the client or you into a position to think as though she's already had it. What would she do? Right? When we set a goal, we are not supposed to know how to get there. The idea is that we will learn through the journey and we are really taking action as though we've already achieved the thing. And you will have such a profound shift in your life when you start to use this, I will call it tip, mantra, direction of be her now. Embody the things now. Take the action. Because when you take the action, you start to go, oh my gosh, I am doing the things I said I was going to do. I set a standard and I followed through. And when you do that, the internal accessibility to confidence will just explode for you because you are following through on the commitments you've made to yourself. Can't tell you how many people I've seen jump from coach to coach or jump from strategy to strategy because they keep deploying these strategies thinking that the strategy is going to save them. I'm just going to try this thing. I'm just going to try this thing. And what's missing is they're not embodying the strategy wholly. They're not becoming a person who believes in the strategy consistently and tweaking and adjusting. And they spend years in their business and may even just quit their business saying it's not working. And that's because they're just not following through on the things they said they were going to do with themselves to embody confidence and build confidence. A couple tips just to help you out is, let's say there's something really scary you want to do and you really want to access confidence. Again, it's a feeling. So you're going to first think about the thoughts. But let's say you're about to hop on a workshop or about to send a scary email, or you're about to go on stage and speak or walk into the room with strangers at a gathering, a networking event. And you're like, oh my gosh, like, how do I really access the be her now notion? And so here's a couple just easy, fun tips that I like to tap into. One is like, find your power song and play that thing so loud. Every time before I go live for a workshop virtually, or even if I'm driving to a speaking event, my jam is Whitney Houston. I want to dance with somebody. I turn that thing up and immediately it changes my state. And state is basically this place where we're hanging out. It's your physiology, it's your emotion. And we want to really embody a state change that is powerful and taps into confidence. So find your song and see how it like literally changes the energetic vibration inside of you. It could be just a mantra that you listen to or you record yourself saying all these amazing things to yourself so you can listen back to it on a consistent basis. It could be journaling and just writing all those things down for yourself, but being able to find a way to kind of turn the knob a little bit to turn up and embody that state change of be her now as you begin to take that action. So again, the key to confidence is not having to acquire more clients or acquire more followers or more views, more certifications. The key to confidence is collecting evidence for the success that you have created so far and understanding that as you are right now in this moment, confidence comes from accepting that and being able to leverage that with power and understanding and owning the fact that you are in this place and you can embody where you want to go by being her now and creating those micro actions and behaviors and thoughts that impact you deeply when it comes to cultivating confidence. So that left side of the equation, the self-belief times your evidence is equaling confidence. And again, I would love to support you in our 5-day challenge, totally free. So head on over to the sign up page at amanda-walker.com/skills. You can join us there. You will get immediate access into the group. You'll have access to the workbook. And we are doing some amazing things before we get started live in the challenge, which is the 24th through the 29th of April. If you have any questions about any parts of the show, something didn't make sense, or you're like, oh, Amanda, that spoke to me, I would love to hear from you. So feel free to head on over to our Instagram at A Walk My Way and send us a DM. I answer all the DMs. It is me in there. I love being interactive over there. And I know many of you are longtime listeners. So if you have not left a review for the podcast, we would so love if you head on over. It's a really quick piece of feedback, couple sentences. Just let us know how this episode or the podcast in general is impacting you. And if you're new to the show, I would love to hear from you what you think and give us a 5-star review, preferably, of course. This is how other people discover our work and we can acquire more listeners and more people can find us. So have a wonderful day. And I look forward to joining you next week on part 2 of the Confident Coach series. Every week, I put my heart and soul into this podcast to bring you value and to help you grow as a person and as a coach. And one of the ways, very simple ways you can return that favor is by leaving us a review. So if you haven't left us a review, head on over to Apple or Spotify, leave us a review, let us know how we're doing, let us know what content you love and which content pieces are really speaking to you now.